Hi kids, welcome back to the chess lessons. In this lecture, number 63, we'll talk about the strategy of the weak king and no protection around the king. We have the opening that is called semi-Slav, and the Grandmaster Karpov, world champion in chess, he was a specialist for this opening. It is also an opening that you can play yourself. It is kind of easy to learn. So look here, knight f3, and this is how you can develop the pieces. You can play queen c2, and then bishop e2. Also bishop d3 is possible, and castling. You see, it's easy to develop the first couple of moves. Yes, you do have to think about this bishop on c1, and there are ways to bring the bishop into the game. Sometimes you can play like b3, right, and bring the bishop to b2, but there are also possibilities with e4, and then the bishop can get open on the natural diagonal. D takes on c4, bishop takes, and pawn to b5. Bishop goes back to e2, rook e8. Now, it's clear that the idea of rook e8 is to push the pawn to e5 and trade the pieces. Rook d1, queen c7, and b3. So both sides are deploying the chess pieces, and now Grandmaster Shirov plays a move e5 and strikes into the center. h3, bishop to b7, bishop to b2, a6. So the Grandmaster Karpov decided to take here on e5, and then he plays a4. So let's see this move a4. I think that's an important move to play, right? What is a4 doing? White is making a pressure on this pawn structure here. It's not easy to push the pawn to c5, what black would like to do in order to open the bishop. So it's a very useful move. Rook d8, and now knight g5. Well, white is already starting with some kind of action, right? Making a king a target. And after this move, white plays knight e4. Knight takes with the idea to capture on d6, right? Bishops are important, right? So white would definitely love to take on d6 and end up with a bishop pair. Bishop to b4, knight g3. And I think with this move, our strategy lesson starts. Knight to g3. Well, it's clear that from g3, knight wants to go to f5 or h5. Right? Both of those moves are an option. And the attack on the king is happening. f6. Is it possible without this move? We could look for some other options because the game is going to prove us that this move f6 makes weaknesses around the king. And it is very interesting how world champion Karpov plays here. Look, he decided to trade bishop for a knight. The knight on e5 is in the center of the chessboard, and it's very powerful, strong. That's why bishop takes on e5, and then the move bishop d3. Look at this one. Bishop on d3 is attacking on h7. Well, now you can see that king is not safe. There is no knight around the king, no protection. H6. Look at this bad pawn structure. If you play a move on G6 here, then you may expect the sacrifice. Look, this could happen, and the king is completely opened here. Right, the next move is knight f5. The king is going to be in trouble, and that's why h6 is played. But h6 creates a lot of weaknesses around the king. The white colors are very weak. Bishop to g6. Excellent place for a bishop and outpost. And now knight f5. Look at this. Pay attention to this strategy of playing on the colors, right? White colors around the king. c5. And now a takes b5. Rook a7. Well, what is Grandmaster Karpov doing? Playing on the both side of the board. Look, rook a7 is a very active rook, right? Attacking the bishop on b7, attacking on the 7th rank. Now, queen c7 and knight h4. The idea of knight h4 is to include the queen into the attack. Well, the threat is bishop h7 and knight g6. So black takes and offers a trade. Of course, that would be great for black if you capture on a8. It would make it easier for black. But world champion plays no queen g4, and of course you cannot take on a7 because queen e6 check, and then queen e8 checkmate. And that's why the move queen c6 is played. But after rook b7, the game is finished here, because now queen e6, and there's no good move here. Like king has to go into the corner, and bishop to e4. Now you can see not only that bishop is attacking on a8, you really don't want to capture that rook, but you want to play queen f5. That's the idea. Check. Grandmaster Shirov resigned the game after bishop e4, but I enter a couple of more moves for you just to see what could happen. Check. You can block, and then play a move like knight g6, knight e7, and queen f5, and the king is completely surrounded. Well, let's see what is the most important that we've learned from this lesson. Remember this pawn structure. This pawn structure is very weak because it creates the weak white colors around the king. And I think the most important strategy really starts here with the bishop to e5. Right? This is the important moment when you take on e5, you remove that knight from the center, and then play bishop d3 to create that weak pawn structure around the king. I also like the move this move here. Just a moment. This move knight h4. That's an important move with the idea bishop h7. You see the pieces are coordinating very nicely, and of course the key move is queen g4, sacrificing the rook with the idea queen e6. Right. So look at that. We are learning about the white colors around the king. No protection around the king. There is no knight around the king to save the king. So I hope you are going to remember this pawn structure and this strategy on the white color that we've learned today. I hope you enjoyed the lesson, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.